All right, what's up, everybody? This is Black Guy Senpai. Today we're going to talk about some cool stuff from AL4. We're going to talk about some results over in Japan from with the impact of EBO1. And today we have the usual suspects. I got CFK, I got
Good.
Zay, and I got TisSkill. So,
What's up?
so something that's been buzzing that a lot of people have talked about for like the past week that we haven't gotten to is just the Zambaku and the left and right arrestor combos. Um, I don't think that good players will actually like let the full thing go off, but who knows? What do you guys think about it?
Uh, I mean, the cost is always going to be the first thing that's mentioned. It's a 3 counterblast, 1 soul combo, assuming you want the power, which you're probably going to want to. So, knowing that, it's going to come down a lot to, at least on both player sides. It's do you give them the counterblast to do the full combo, the Kumo player knowing exactly when they need to full combo you, when they need to just do partials if they want to block your restand, force you to have to re-ride, which is probably going to be best against a lot of Excel clans that aren't obviously Nova Grapplers since they're running like a crazy diamond build, and just blocking a rear ride, which is going to be optimal most of the time against stuff like OTT and Kagero. And a really well timed full combo can definitely end games, but as been discussed before, their offense is going to be a little bit questionable. They're already running about 8 vanilla grade 2s in their deck. They don't hit very high power numbers. Their best rear guard is Musashi by far. And while, yes, they have a lot of avenue for like new cards to come and kind of bolster that up, I can't imagine they're going to get anything like, even on terms of like what Aquas and Novas got, simply because like this clan it has somewhat of a hard lock. You can't give this clan like a crazy offense, or it'll just be the best clan in the game.
Yeah, I mean, something that kind of bothers me, and we'll have to see how the support kind of goes for Kumo, is that I never liked one-trick pony decks in Vanguard. So, I mean, Zay, to your point, yes, you could piece it out, but like, Counterblast 3 is heavy. And like, if you take a look at Mega Colony, you barely get off Spark twice, and that's kind of what hinders the deck is when you look at 2 counterblasts or 3 counterblasts, it's heavy. Then you wind up trying to do like this one turn, give it all I got, one trick pony type of situation, and those decks just typically don't climb up in tier unless somehow it becomes free. Somehow it becomes counterblast 1 because you're able to countercharge. Like if it's a one trick pony type of thing, I don't see it going somewhere. And to Zay's other point, the offense isn't going to be there. Like with the control it has, there's no way that they're going to get the offense to counteract that. Being Excel, maybe if they protect, but if it's Excel.
Like, yeah, it seems really obvious that like even in their card design, they're being bounced around, checking front triggers and being on Excel circle to mitigate the weakness of their rear guards. So like by denying them CB so they can't full combo you, and just generally playing around that, you know that they're going to have some pretty easily guardable rearguard swings besides Musashi, who's always going to force at least 2 cards over your hand. So they're gonna put them into a scenario that we're kind of in, where it's like, do you run the crits and bank on the power on Musashi on having to, drop a lot of cards to guard them if you can make them big enough, or do you run the fronts, increase your whole board's power to kind of mitigate the weakness that's coming out from your deck because of the Vanguard skill? And I feel like that's going to be a huge issue for them. Really, like deciding what they want their identity to be. I feel they can't really forego draws either, because the only card we saw clone was Million Rat. The only other card I can really see them getting that will clone is probably like Midnight Crow or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So
I I think that I Murakumo. I really want to see what their CC options are going to be. Are they going to get something as easy as OTT has with the Gemini Elf? And even if they don't maybe run it, I'm like, it's still the easiest CC option in the game right now. Or is it going
I
to?
think they're going to Transriser clone, honestly.
Yeah, and trans risers, and my thing, well, trans riser, he hurts. Actually, he hurts perfect riser, but I digress with that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is it going to be as hard as Novas to CC, or as easy as OTT to CC. Because it's like they're probably valuing the whole, first off, Zambaku's skill, plus the arrestor. I think they're really valuing that high. Personally, the whole full combo, I think, is an in-game play, strictly in-game play. I like Zambaku alone, and I think that his skill alone is good enough to stunt decks not named like Dimension Police and even Aqua Force to that extent. Mostly because you prevent your opponent from rewriting. And I know OTT players are like, oh, well, we'll just sit on a Materazzi. Well, you're not always guaranteed to be ridden on a Materazzi every single game for that to happen. And it also stops Kagura players from dropping Waterfall on you. I'm just saying, I think that Zambaku's skill alone is really good. The full combo is risky, and it's an in-game move, and it's really going to depend on their CC options to see if you can get it off twice in the game.
See, the thing is, too, though, is like if you look at other Excel clans, like Tachi, as far as I know, don't have any CC whatsoever.
No.
We have probably the best as Aqua players have probably the best easily usable CC in an Excel clan. You could argue Transrise is good because you can use in combat like ours, but the issue with that is you can only use him so many times. His use is very limited unless you're just racking up soul, in which case I mean, like, all the power to you, but like it just doesn't feel good having to consecutively re-ride to be able to soul blast you, to be able to countercharge one. If you run Boomerang Thrower, you're running a rear guard with no power whatsoever for the countercharge soul charge. If you're already almost out, so there's that, and like he has to combo pretty much with Rocket Hammerman because that's how you make a row that at least hits numbers. And they're already a deck that has problems with numbers, so it doesn't feel good. And we all know the perfect is very conditional. He has to hit, and that is like probably the easiest guardable Vanguard in Vanguard right now. Like, so it's not good.
I mean, my thing too is, people want to say that Kuma's going to kill OTT and all this stuff, but there's probably going to be a scenario in which you're going to do the right arrestor, right? CB2, put a card from hand to soul, they can't stand. And then you know what that OTT player is going to do? Swing at that right arrestor until it dies. And if you don't have the replenish, you're definitely not going to have the counterblast. Just straight up. I'm just calling it now.
The thing is, though, like you don't need to stop them from attacking. You just have to stop them from riding. You'll kill OTT eventually.
And you don't have to call with Zambaku. It's only one counterblast per turn, really. So it's like, again, we need to see what their CC options to have like a really concrete, finalized evaluation of him. But Zambaku does not have to call an arrestor out to stop them from stop you from rewriting.
That's not true. You need a left and right arrestor on your rear guard circle to prevent the rewriting. But
I'm just saying. I'm saying you don't have. He doesn't have to call it. You could put an arrestor behind your Vanguard.
That's true.
And he also gets what, 5K too?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can't lose.
I think the measure of good Kumo players are going to be knowing when to partial combo, either to stop standing, stop rewriting, and knowing when to do both, knowing which is better against what clans. Like, I feel like in order to be a good Kumo player, you're going to have to know every clan in and out as good as you know the clan itself.
Right.
Like, but that that can be said about any clan though.
Kumo is not going to be easy to play. Kumo is not going to be an easy deck to play.
No, it's going to be. It's, in my opinion, it's a high skill cap clan because like most people, like Zay said earlier, like you're going to need to know when to do this and when to do that if you want to do both skills at once, or if you're going to want to do just one of those two skills at a time. And I think like the better Murakumo players are going to be the people that are, like, in my opinion, the 3 counterblast and soul blast, however many, that's stupid. Don't do that. Like,
I was about to say, first, like, if it's very on, the first time they do the full lock, that's going to be a trap. That's going to kill so many players. because yeah, you'll stunt our turn for 1 turn. We'll use our rear guards to kill your arresters, and then we're just gonna put you behind. You're not gonna have the counterblast to keep doing this.
Exactly. Like Kagero get their counterblast back because of Airmo, and then they can just keep killing more and more shit. So even if they don't even have to attack it, they just swing with the rear guards or the vanguard and blow up your shit. Aquaforce will just
Don't even have to attack it. They can just play cards and kill them.
Yeah.
Unless you hide one on an Excel circle, in which case you could still kill it with cards. Like yeah, they can just play cards and kill it.
Yeah, Aquaforce, we just need our rear guards to hit 3rd or 4th battle, and that's not hard for us. And then we can restand our vanguard from there.
Also, for everybody listening, if like when Kumo comes out and when you're playing against it, always kill the right arrestor. It doesn't matter if the left's there. Kill the right arrestor because when they're out of their right arresters, they can no longer lock you. They need both to prevent you from rewriting. The right arrestor is the one that does the full lock. You need to always kill the right arrestor. Ignore the left. Let them thin out their deck of all their arresters. If they don't get like a Tonba, they're screwed. They're never going to be able to lock you again if you kill all 4.
And as of right now, until we figure out what kind of countercharging Kuma is going to get, if you're playing OTT, just play the slow game, damage deny. Like your deck will be able to win itself. Like seriously, they can stop you from riding once, they can stop you from standing once. That won't kill you. I promise you that won't kill you.
Well, of course not. You're playing OTT. Nothing does. Nothing really kills you.
I think like after you take into account like the hard lock, the soft lock, preventing the standing and in the stand draw phase, like when you actually factor in their turn, most of the time it's going to be up to the Kuma player to find a way to put you in an unfavorable position to where they can do this enough times to actually win the game. I don't feel like the deck itself is just going to outright win any games. I feel like even with the lock, it's still going to always be an uphill battle for the Kuma player and figuring out ways to just constantly make you neg until you win. And like a lot of people are saying like, oh, like Musashi's going to do that. But like, even if he's forcing 2 cards out of your hand every turn minimum, eventually one of 2 things is going to happen. You're either going to CB deny them if they have minimal counterblast. They're not going to be able to use their effects. You're eventually going to be able to restand and like start killing them again. Or like you'll just make really smart plays, damage deny them as well, and like force them to do something else, you know. And like if you're finding that you're just stuck in like an endless chain of blocks or like can't rewrite or stuff like that, and the Musashi's just murdering you, you probably want to kill the Musashi over the arresters at that point. Like it's going to come down to what the Kumo player can really force you to have to do more than anything, I feel.
I mean, keep in mind Musashi needs more rear guards than your opponent, so he kind of forces the Kumo player to fill up the board to counteract a full board. Like if you're playing Royals or something against with Musashi, I mean, good luck trying to get more rear guards than them.
That's actually another thing too. I think Rose is going to be a miserable matchup for them because they're just going to keep Superior calling Blaster Blade if they ride Alfred. And that's not going to be enjoyable.
And the key word here is more, not same or more. More.
Yeah. And like playing against other Excel clans, it's not even a guarantee you could have more rear guards.
This is very true.
Yeah, it's funny that Royals is the most fair deck in the game, but they're gonna be America. They're gonna be Musashi's counter.
They're gonna be Kumo counter. I mean, like Zenon's a meme, but like if it works, it works.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other thing you got to look at too is like most decks. Like yesterday when I was playing OTT at the shop qualifier for the buy card, like I wasn't playing any Kagura, so I had a full board like all the time. So, are you running 6 or 8 draw on Kumo just so that you can fill up your board to get value out of Musashi? Like
I don't think I think
they can't afford to forgo fronts, in my opinion.
Yeah, they have to go front. You can if it's kind of like with Maelstrom in a way. To me, I feel like you can't miss out on that offense, you know, by oversaturating yourself with draw triggers.
And like it's also a really poor shield, so like that'll also come back to bite them. Because some of these clans, even when their Vanguard can attack, are still going to be able to make huge numbers on rear guards or like a lot of multiple pokes. And like having 5k shields as one of your cards in hands is gonna really hurt if you have to guard all that.
Yeah,
like spikes are still gonna make huge columns. Royals, they can if they're on Soul Saver, like they can still make everything big. It's not gonna feel fun having to guard with 5k guard.
Yeah, I feel like Excel clans can't deal with the Soul Save return, anyways.
I mean, you just guard whatever attack you can and take the other two if possible.
Like personally, right now, I think that Pale Moon looks a lot more promising than Kumo.
Okay.
And they have 2 cards. 2 cards.
No,
I mean, I was saying it though. Like Pale Moon could be the best Excel clan simply because of the way they play. Like being like if they get the tools kind of similar to how Pale Moon plays in G already. Like when you think of the Paradigm loops, except being able to do it on Excel Circle. So if they get the tools to attack on Excel Circle, put it into Soul, call it something back on an Excel Circle, attack, put it into Soul, rinse and repeat like many times in a turn, even if it's high cost and you can only do it like 2 or 3 turns, that's still 2 or 3 turns where you're getting every single attack with plus 10k power. It's going to add up.
The only thing that worries me with Pale Moon is I hope they're not trying to do the Battle Riser hero thing that they did with Nova Grappler, because right now the 2 cards released are Workroids, and that's great. But
yeah,
we also have Beast Tamer, so if they split it, that's going to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
I definitely see where you're coming from here. Like, it could definitely be a problem. Beast Tamer's a human and stuff like that. And if there's a high worker focus for like AL4, Jill and stuff like that, although like she doesn't require a workeroid, but like she has her own conditions that you can't call grade 2s. So like they could get into a spot where like your soul's filled with a bunch of cards that don't really have any synergy together. Then you're like, man, my sucks.
All right, and so since we're already talking about Alice and Jumping Jill, let's go ahead for the listeners at home. Just let them know what the skills are for Alice. It is Auto Vanguard. When placed, call up to 1 Workeroid from your soul to rear guard, and that unit gets power +5 until end of turn. And next skill is Auto Rearguard. At the end of the battle, it attacked, cost, counterblast 1, soul blast 1. Put this unit into soul, and then call a card other than grade 3 from your soul to rearguard circle. That's Nightmare Doll Alice. Jumping Jill is Auto Rearguard Circle. When placed from soul, cost, put one of your other rearguards into your soul. Call a card other than grade 2 from your soul to rearguard circle in the back row. So I think like this does have like a lot of synergy with it, and I see why they immediately put the ban on Purple Trapezist with this, because you could just keep going with that. But most likely, if they're playing premium, they're gonna keep calling Elizabeth. So
or Betty.
Yeah. Betty. I'm sorry.
That's the Betty Paradin Trapezist combo, except you can't use her though, because it was Trapezist that's calling out the Paradin, right? So you can't use her because she can't call out 2s, but like you could do various different combos. Like if the 2 could interact, like you could just build full boards every time, which would be gross. But I do like how these 2 cards specifically already interact just from the 2, because you can use the one to call out the other, use the other to call another. Where'd it go? Use the other to call out another Jill, and you can keep going back and forth to your auto counterblast or soul, which you never want to be out of soul, so hopefully not that. But you can definitely get a lot of attacks in, and depending on how low your opponent is, this could pretty much be lethal. The only issue I see with Pale Moon and with these kind of effects, with them like going in and out of soul so much, is they're gonna probably have a much weaker synergy with front triggers, kind of like Tachi's. So I think Pale Moon are gonna actually want to use crits. That's at least the vibe I'm getting from the playstyle they already have currently. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that is kind of bothering me right now is the Soul Blast, you know? So, like, you're Soul Blasting 1, and I understand this unit goes into the Soul, but you're still Soul Blasting something you kind of need. So I'm wondering how their Soul Engine's going to be. I'm wondering if they're going to split between Beast Tamers and Workroids, and how that's actually going to play out.
I think it largely depends too on how their soul charging ends up being, because like even in there's quite a few Pale Moon cards that do Soul Blast, and like they could abuse them, like quite a lot of them to an extent, and not really like feel the effects too much, unless their soul is really crap, which is usually like early on, like their early turns. But it really depends. Like so far, we have 2 cards. Neither of them's actually soul charge. So it's how much soul charge are we going to see to be able to really abuse this? Like this might be something you can only do on your absolute last turn. Like I know I'm going in for the kill. I'm shoving everything out of soul, and like I'm getting the 5 attack combo, assuming you have like counter charge or like 5 open CV. So
Like,
yeah.
Like I'd like to, like I don't play Pale Moon. Like I tried playing Harry like towards the end of the G format, but like I do understand like, oh yeah, you're like the appeal to it is just like you're not gonna be using your hand so much because you're supposed to be soul charging. But like you said, we don't know what we're gonna get to soul charge, and we only have seen 2 cards. So I think Pale Moon like with the Excel circle is gonna be great. I think it's gonna be pretty good because, and besides, Asuka's like Ren's right hand person, right? So she can't be that weak.
I mean, it still largely depends on how strong they're willing to make Excel clans out the gate. And the answer so far is, besides Tachi's, like, not very. Like, they're all very middle to like, low tier in terms of, like, where they lie in the pack. So, like, we don't know where they're actually going to be placed. Kumo is pretty uncertain. Like, they might see a lot of play just simply because they can force OTT's first real uncomfortable matchup. So, like, they might not be the strongest, but they might see a lot of play just because they can make that matchup a lot harder than any other clan really has been able to. And like in regards to Pale Moon, they could be either really crazy or they might be back to the era where like they don't soul charge enough and like they really struggle because they don't have good units in their soul, so they don't actually do anything.
No, you are definitely right about that one. But I do think like Murakumo is gonna be the way that it is because like Excel is supposed to be like the offensive clan out of all of them. Like we're supposed to be able to do all these swings and such, but I don't think they're gonna like have great offensive numbers. And why? Like yeah, we've seen a couple cards from them, but none of them really get power except for one of the arresters, and they're gonna like I think Tiz said it earlier. Like they're gonna need to rely on fronts to hit those power columns because if your opponent hits a trigger, they're almost in the same situation that Aquaforce is. You hit a trigger, Aquaforce's turn is almost over. So it doesn't matter if they lock down some stuff. If they hit a trigger, that's going to hurt them a lot because they're not gaining power with it at all.
Yeah, oh sorry, go ahead, Tiz.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, something that I kind of commonly hear is like Excel gets destroyed by one defensive trigger, and I just want to kind of clarify that a defensive trigger hurts every clan, every gift right now. Like even force, it can still hurt them even if they have their force markers spread. So I just want to clarify that.
The thing I hate about like the saying, "Oh, defensive trigger shuts down your turn," is like we actively run a trigger that counteracts defensive triggers to begin with, and like yeah, you're banking on triggers, but you're also banking on defensive triggers, so it's literally the same fucking thing. And saying like a defensive trigger shuts down your turn, it only really shuts down your turn if you overcommitted, if you overextended, and they hit a defensive, then yeah, you got punished. It shut down your turn. But if you literally are playing bare bones, like 1 to 2 rear guards, you're just going through your combos just to like get in the chip damage or like get off your effects, it didn't really shut down your turn. It just put you in a situation where you couldn't hit anymore, and then you have to figure out like what you can do from there. But the reason why it looks like it shuts down our turn is just because the typical attack order of Aquas, because we're, at least with Maelstrom, because we're attacking rear guards first and then Vanguard, yeah, when they hit the defensive trigger, it feels like, oh man, turn's over. But like if we were any other clan, we went Vanguard first and then attacked your rear guards after, it just works out to the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, and like I'm sorry if it sounded like I was just like oh yeah, trigger shuts down your turn, but like triggers definitely suck, especially if you don't hit them.
Yeah.
Because there's been like our first night when when I was practicing Aqua Force against you, like I hit all the triggers in the world, and then it's like you still were coming at my face, and it's like it hurt a lot, even though I still won,
Yeah.
but
Hell,
still,
man, like a defensive trigger shuts down our turn. One front trigger shuts down almost any clan's turn. You can't even kill our rear guards if you don't have big numbers. Like it goes both ways, like Tis said.
yeah, it's a definitely a give and take, but um, with that, like I think Pale Moons are gonna be doing a lot better with crits because like yeah, you get the front, like you give the front trigger to everything, but then like if it goes into
They're going
soul,
away.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're going away. So you might as well like give it a crit, make it threatening.
And like the other thing too is like you might not even want to attack with your Vanguard until near the very end of your combo because chances are like you're doing however many swings in a turn, like they have a higher chance of defensive triggering the more you damage them. So like it's probably not better, or it's probably not best, sorry, to swing with your Vanguard until like you're down to your last 2 or 3 attacks and like really put on the pressure.
Yeah, definitely. Because like I think because Pale Moon still have another triple rare I think left in the set to be
I
revealed.
believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and then like it could be the Beast Tamer chick. I don't remember what the Beast Tamer did in the original series.
The other 3, Crackling Beast Tamer.
Yeah, that like I think it was like Counterblast 2 and do something else and call out a 2. Like now it's probably gonna be like Counterblast 1, Counterblast 1 and throw some crap in soul charge like 5 or something like that, and then bring out like 3 units or something like that. I don't know, but
Honestly, their effects could be like completely different. Like I'm not even really using a basis for like what they previously did for what they'll do now. But who knows?
yeah,
Honestly, that triple R, I don't even think it'll be another 3 because they already got like their VR, their triple R. If anything, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a grade 2 or a grade 1. It's hard to really say like what were really iconic units back then for like their main deck because like Asuka is one of the characters in the anime who went through so many different cards. So it's really hard to like pin down what could possibly come out.
yeah. Like I don't think they were a popular clan until like a semi-popular clan until Harry in the.
Look here.
Oh well, yeah, Lukia, but she like I don't think she got much play because she came out in BTO7, right?
From what everybody tells me, is like the deck sucked, but people loved it. She was like the original Vanguard waifu.
Yeah, yeah, she's Vanguard waifu. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. So like everybody had to pay waifu tax, and then
Well, her and Amaterasu.
eh, demon Vanguard waifu. How about that?
But yeah,
But
like so, like we don't even know what we're gonna get. I do expect to see like maybe 1 or 2 Silver Tamer or Silver Thorn units, like probably Beast Tamer, so like maybe Marichika or something like that. Just simply because like almost every clan has gotten like 1 or 2 cards that are kind of okay in standard, but really like shine in premium. And if we're talking about any card, that's basically always been like the best rear guard in Silver Thorns, along with the Lion. So like, I think that her getting a Vieira card is a very high possibility.
hmm, like yeah, I do think I agree with you because like Spike's got that in this EBO1 with Spike Bouncer. Like that card is amazing. It's
On the Vanguard circle.
it's still good on rearguard circle.
Yeah, on rearguard circle, it draws you a card. It's a filter.
It draws you a card and it can still superior call. Like if you're striding, you can look at top 4 and go dig for something out. Put the rest at the bottom.
I think Bouncer is good, no matter if he's on Vanguard or rearguard. I think he's one of their best rearguards in my opinion. Living proof, quote me on this.
I just like, cause I'm just like, maybe it's because I like doing double Siegfried and making like Juggernaut and Bracky both like plus 20k in my Vanguard, like making some big old lanes. But I'm just like, Bouncer seems to just be a really strong grade 2 turn play, and then after that, I just don't really use him. I usually just use Bracky, Panther, and Juggernaut.
Wakanda forever. Yeah, Black Panther's a great card because he can give you that plus 15. Oh, you hit a trigger? Okay, I don't care. Soul Blast 1 plus 15. Oh, by the way, replace myself in the soul. Like that's some good shit.
I don't know, man. CB1 call something from the top is still pretty darn good.
And then you have my thing is like you have the CB1 to call something from the top. I mean that's pretty good, but you will always have the chance of getting nothing but triggers, like what happened to me twice yesterday. And then you have the CB1 to throw them into the soul to draw a card. I mean, I like using my CB for Siegfried.
Yeah, like that's completely fair.
I feel like you can't tunnel though. You have to be able to be very fluid with what you're doing. Like, for instance, if you're just using all your CB for Siegfried, like, say that's what Black Guy was doing in the matches we just played, then like you wouldn't have had any plays. A lot of his plays had to be made actually with the look at top X cards, superior call one, put the rest of the bottom. Like that pretty much made his boards half the time.
Yeah, like,
because he didn't have the hand to do anything.
Yeah, like it's like being able to get like a full board off of just like one or two cards, and especially if you get that one card off of another card, it's pretty fucking good. And the only thing that you have to do is just like counterblast one, soul blast one, and then if you get gyro slinger, put another one into soul. So technically it's counterblast one, get like 3 cards on board, one of them gets +5. Oh, and then another one potentially puts a card to the bottom of your deck that's not a grade 1, and then that gets another +5. So like you're doing pretty good all over. Like you're thinning and then you're putting triggers back into your deck.
Like, are you kidding me? If I'll tell you right now, if Viviana was counterblast 1 at the end of the battle, put in a soul draw card, I'd be happy as hell.
Yeah.
Like I would run her at 4 in every build all the time. I would make sure I always resolved her. I would use that counterblast. Like, you don't understand. Like, Spike Bouncer is so good. I wish we had a Spike Bouncer. Even if you didn't have the first effect, I'd still run him just for the draw. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's what I thought Algos was gonna get, is the counterblast one at the end of battle draw.
I'm glad he ended up being a restander and you know, not having the draw effect. But like, in hindsight, probably would have been nice to have the draw effect now.
Yeah.
But what can you do, right?
Yeah, exactly. So next, before we get to the next part that like a lot of people don't like, there is a rare that CFK wants to talk about. It's called a Ghoulish Despoiler. It is a dark irregular grade 3, and this thing is like pretty nice. Gets a protect gift, so it has a potential of being a backup to whatever No Life King does, or just, you know, be a separate deck for its own. It is auto Vanguard Circle when placed. CB1 Soul Charge 2, return up to 1 grade 2 or less, so you can get PGs and shit, from your soul to your hand. That's first skill. Second skill is auto Vanguard Circle. When it attacks, if your soul has 10 or more cards, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and this unit gets power plus 10k till end of battle. So, CFK, you want to take this away?
That card is really, really good. And it is good in both premium and is really in standard. It is such a good card. Somebody was complaining that it only, I forget, like some people were saying that in this Discord. I mean, like, oh, it's supposed to be, you know, it would be good if it worked on the rear guard circle too. I was like, no, because then that'd be quite broken. I mean, but on placement, you get to and it's one counterblast. You get to soul charge 2, and then grab a grade 2 or less that you soul charge. So you get to add a important grade 1 or grade 2, you know, a rear guard that you're going to use. You could put
guard.
or perfect guard. Put a perfect guard into your hand. Grab a heal trigger, put that into your hand for more defense. I mean, it's so strong. And then, you know, when you have 10 or more soul, and again, dark irregulars to me have always been a rush, you know, until, you know, they really improved on Charlotte. Have been more of a Russian roulette clan. Like, you don't know what you're going to get because you're just randomly soul charging. Your focus is building up the soul. And the fact that you now have the ability to grab stuff from the soul and put into your hand is a plus. But also, you're going to be soul charging. You're going to be building your soul. Once you hit 10 soul, you get to get 10. You're swinging for 22K plus a retire every turn with this card. And I'm not saying you want to sit on this card every turn because obviously you want to ride, your VR. You want to be on your VR. But I mean, as a first turn ride, this card to me is really good. You get a protect marker. You get a card. You get an additional card from your soul into your hand, so you can ride something that you want to call out later because you want to save another card from hand. I mean, it really changes up how you really want to ride, and um, it's really like, well, I don't really have a bad grade 1 or grade 2 ride because I'm just going to add it back to my hand anyways. So I just think that this card is really strong, and I think he's going to be undervalued by the time when Dark Irregular finally gets released. But I think that when you start playing with this card, and to me on paper it's really good, but once you start playing with this card, it is going to be one of the more annoyingly strong, under the radar strong cards in the game.
Honestly, I feel all the reveals are very strong. Like, Ruthven is arguably the weakest one, and he still can, on place, put a card from your damage zone or drop zone in your soul. And if it was from your damage zone, you put a top card into your deck face down if it was Rulaka's countercharge. And, like, that's amazing in itself because previously, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but only Angel Feathers had ever been able to really interact with cards in your damage and, like, manipulate them where they go. The combination of Ruthven with Ghoulish is pretty awesome because you can take something out of your damage, put it into soul, retrieve it with Ghoulish, and like that's amazing in itself. On top of that, like comboing with Rulakis and like being able to guard Soul Charge. If he goes into Soul, he gives your Vanguard 10k. Like, I think all the cards are very good. Like, I definitely am very impressed with the direction they're taking DIs. I wasn't sure if they're going to go back to being like inconsistent and very slow and hard to like really do anything, or if they're going to make them just too strong right out the gate to where like set 14 they're oppressive. But like seeing these effects, they've hit like a pretty nice middle ground. I do like the utility they've already have just from 3 card reveals. If anything, I know people love the ability to guard and soul charge. That's something that happened later in Tierra, and like it felt really good. So that's going to be very welcome and stuff like that. And I feel like Ruthven, like he might not even make the final cut, but I feel even what he does is still something that like is important to have very early on.
Oh yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that it's just the deck for Dark Irregulars, and don't throw me to the fire right now, but I think Dark Irregulars will probably be the best deck coming out of AL4.
Really?
Obviously, it's dependent on what Phantom Blaster Dragon, does, and we're not trying to have the sky fall as they put it before, but I feel like Dark Irregulars will be the strongest deck coming out of that set, mostly because they're from what it looks like, they're going to be able to generate quite a bit of hand. Quite a bit of hand. They have a pretty nice combo with I can't remember the names, but the grade 1 and the grade 2 they revealed already. They have a pretty decent combo between both of them. It seems like they're going to get back to their kind of like original style of their Vanguard being really strong. I know we discussed a rumor about No Life Death King. I feel like Death King is probably going to have some type of guard manipulation to him. But I just think that overall, Dark Irregulars is actually going to be a really strong deck that not only focuses on the Vanguard being pretty strong, but it's going to have pretty good rear guards to help supplement. Even if their offense on the rear guard circle may be lacking in comparison to like maybe what Grand Blue has, or even OTT, like with the Promised Daughter column that is like hits 23. I think that the abilities of the rear guard column and the strength of their center column are going to work really well together.
See,
and it's going to.
Oh, sorry.
I was just
going to say, I think like a lot of this is actually going to be decided by both the Soul Clans. Like It's how well is Bushy willing to support them and like let them really thrive, because DIs for the longest time didn't really do anything until like towards the tail end of G. I realized like, yeah, in Japan from set 8 onwards they were tearing it up, but like they weren't relevant here until set 11 onwards, which is the very end of G. They've been a clan that's historically been very inconsistent, as you said, and like when they hit that consistency, they felt so good to play. Like they're one of the funnest clans in Vanguard easily. And Pale Moon is a clan that always has kind of like never really got the stuff it needs when it needed it to be really relevant. Like if it got Masquerade Master any time earlier than GB14, that deck would have been tier 1. The Rummy Labyrinth stuff, it was really good, but it just wasn't enough. Like they always have kind of, just always fell short of the mark. And it could largely be in part of the player base. Like for instance, the Period and Loop, that was something that's existed at least in Vanguard for a long time, but it wasn't really discovered until much later on in G, as far as I'm aware. And it kind of is reminiscent of Time Leap in like the sense that people really didn't optimize what you were able to do with Pale Moon in the windows of time when it could have been really good, unlike Gears, because like, I mean, once people got on, it was like wildfire. It was everywhere. But like Pale Moon, like that never really happened. There's still a lot of people who don't even know how to Parrington Loop. You can't find video tutorials of this like you can Time Leap, for example. Like it's just always been a clan that just has always kind of just been like, they're good, but they're not like where everyone else is, like at the very top. And like they have the opportunity to change this if they get very consistent soul charging. If they get more cards to combo well, I can easily see them being a top deck. As was said earlier, they don't use a lot of hand to go off. Usually it's just like the initial cards played, and then they kind of like combo off from there. So I'm really interested to see where they go.
Oh yeah, I mean, like to me, Dark Irregulars before Shaharlet got before like a Mono Reverse came out, Dark Irregulars were kind of in the category of like Spike Brothers, Mega Colony, and Tachikaze, like the whole Destructor Worthy, like they were out of a niche clan. Then people picked up a Mono Reverse because like it topped one tournament, in Japan, and then it fell off again, and then then Dark Irregulars really didn't pick up until I think the second wave of support for Shaharlet, and then dropped.
Even the first though, like Gilderai could steal games, but the clan was largely a one-trick pony.
Right, and it wasn't until they got like the whole wall deck. I can't remember the name of that card for the life of me.
Bladewing,
right? They got Bladewing with Sullivan, and even the new Shaharlet support. Like it wasn't until like the tail end of G that people really started to pick up Dark Irregulars and play them. And, even and the fact that they're carrying some things over from G, I think is pretty cool. But I feel like Dark Irregulars are still within that type of. They're not as niche of clans as like the entire Destructive Roar set is, but I do feel that they're not going to be a heavily popular thing, obviously, until we see what Death Anchor does, and when we compare it to OTT and the stuff that's already out right now. But I just think that Dark Irregulars really have a chance at becoming a top tier deck and really changing their fortunes of being a step above niche clan to a pretty popular clan. Even though Shadows are going to be the most popular clan and they're going to be the clan that everybody's going to pick up mostly out of the set, I think Dark Irregulars can do that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is just straight up from what we've seen. Any clan that is labeled Protect has a chance to just top in meta, just because of how they've really given Protect almost everything they need: the draw, the defense, the power, the finishing. So it doesn't matter. Mega Colony can make a resurgence. OTT is obviously on top right now. Dark Irregulars and whatever other Protect clan you want to throw out there, Grand Blue, whatever, has a chance to literally be tier 1 because of the way they did it.
I have to like agree with that. Like when you play a Protect clan, they just feel so much more polished and like thought through than any other gift marker type in the game. Like when you play Force, like there's moments where like these moments of greatness where it just feels unstoppable, but there's also like really underwhelming like in between, like, oh, I didn't ride my preferred ride, my offense is weaker, I don't have like the same resources, and like it can feel really hot and cold, you know? And we all know Excel. So but like playing Protect clans, like they just feel so fluid and like so well done. And I can't wait to see what they do with the eyes. I really, really, really like the fact that they made Grand Blue and they made Dark Irregulars, clans that historically had a lot of problems with RNG screwing them over, have Protect, have this ability to guard themselves so they don't just get blown out by these numbers that they otherwise probably wouldn't be able to guard if they weren't generating consistent Protect gifts. Like, I like it. It feels good.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Protect clans, man. It's like they can hit numbers. That just if it looks like especially in the case of Dark Irregulars, that like with Protect clans, I've started to notice this thing of like OTT outside of like a first turn deer, they don't really have a bad ride target. Grand Blue, they don't want to ride Negro Breach. Yeah, they don't want to ride Franger. They don't want to ride Negro Breach unless they have to, or Skull Dragon. They want to ride Basskirk and mostly sit on him all game, and just keep rewriting Basskirk if possible, unless they need a Protect. Unless they feel the need to get a Protect marker in hand. And then you look at Dark Irregulars. To be perfectly honest, Dark Irregulars are probably going to get 2 really good ride targets. That the grade 3, really good ride target, not a bad ride target, and it's something I feel like if you have to sit on it, or you have to keep rewriting that card, you're still going to be pretty fine.
Yo, are you like invested in Dark Irregulars or something?
Do you have
sell it or something, bro?
Yeah.
You were like riding
Dark Regular spokesperson 2018.
You were like riding a ghost train.
No, dude. This was gonna happen. CFK is gonna change his intro on his channel. He's gonna be like, "Cradfight King here, Dark Irregular Life. You already know. Get the man scare out and everything."
Oh my god!
every video he's gonna dress like fucking what's his name
for the past 20 minutes you've been talking about
Dark though. Change the topic. I'm done.
To be fair, 100%. To be fair, Dark Regulars is my second favorite clan in the game. It's been for a long time, so I understand. I do understand.
I mean, I played when I first got into the game and I sold my Megalo deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! I played like a really jank version of Amon, and I like my first SP was Amon, and I was like, I mean, I played. Of course, was I made. Playing Dark Irregulars was just because I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I got into the game. But I'm like, dude, yeah, I have a soft spot for Dark Irregulars.
Dude,
honestly, I have a soft spot for Dark Zone clans. Period. Like, when you think about everything that happens in Vanguard, like all the mechanics, none of these are inherently all that unique. Like you see mill in other card games, you see decks that tutor a lot, decks that draw a lot, have a lot of floating card effects, floating advantage. But the most unique thing in Vanguard is soul charging and soul blasting. And that's why I think like clans like Dark Irregulars, like Pale Moon, like Genesis are inherently like a ton of fun to play because they're probably the most unique mechanics to Vanguard that separate them completely from any other card game.
Right.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
Black guy, next time.
All right, so we're not gonna make the sky fall, but we will.
Don't even allude to it.
No, dude, we're gonna talk about shadows now. And first we're gonna talk about the main grade 3 from the trial deck. All right, I know I said Navel Gazer was probably the best trial deck boss. That was arguably. This is the best trial deck boss. Not arguably. There, my final answer, Ruben stuttered, whatever the fuck his name is. this is it. All right. This is continuous Vanguard during your turn. Oh yeah, Dark Dictator from now on shall be known to amongst my community as Black Alfred. Uh,
Black Alfred. I like to point out that I coined that, by the way, Black Alfred. Thank you.
no. I've been calling it Black Alfred since forever.
Oh my god.
But anyway, Black Alfred skill, continuous Vanguard circle. During your turn, this unit gets +2 for each of your rear guards. Next skill, Act Vanguard circle. Once per turn. Cost, Counterblast 1. Call up to 1 grade 2 or less from your hand to rear guard circle. And that unit gets power +5 until end of turn. Your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards and retires it. Dude.
It's like...
His effect is literally just doing something you could already do, but for a cost.
The thing is, though, is like he is doing something he could already do for a cost, but it gains power and retires with power in that, as we obviously know.
Yeah.
That's literally what Kagero does.
Yeah.
So, like, I've seen a lot of people hating on it, but realistically, like, this card's going to be run just because, like, it calls a card, makes it stronger, meaning you're hitting for 23 with a booster. You retire a card. So, I mean, like, that's going to be something. He himself, if you have a full board, is swinging 23. Like,
exactly.
People want something game breaking. That's why.
I mean, Dark Dictator. I mean,
100%.
You could chain the main, grabbing the main, calling the main out, and the main's ability calls something else out. Oh, cool! I just got it.
Well,
Yeah,
the main can only get other 5Ks, and the only other 5K is just Nemain.
And you know what? The thing is, like, people want something game breaking, but you know, when that card comes through and when those rumors are real, they're not going to be wanting that game breaking shit anymore. Let me tell you.
Okay, hold up.
Yeah.
Let's speculate real quick. We're gonna ignore the rumored effect of Phantom Blaster. Let's just say Phantom Blaster is like, play this at 4, you win the game. What's your backup? What's your other grade 3s? Well, yeah, it's not really like that, but what's your backup grade 3s?
But I mean, Phantom Blaster is always going to be the 4 of most definitely anyway. Just because it's more than likely going to have the best effect. It's hard to say. Shadows actually are blessed with pretty damn okay grade 3s.
Yeah, like Baba Dakar.
There's nothing that just screams bad. There's nothing that screams amazing. You know, like it's hard to say like what really is great or what really is bad. Well, actually, wait, I lied. Maybe the off trial deck 3. But other than that, like there's not really. Actually, no. He still gains 5K just for having more rear guards. 18K attacker. Like maybe not. Yeah, like they don't have really terrible 3s. But they don't have anything that screams super broken, which is why like if Phantom Blaster Diablo ends up being a crazy broken card, like this is a totally different conversation. All of a sudden, it's just like, oh man, Shadows are amazing. Shadows are the best deck in the game, and it's like, does it matter anymore what your off 3s are?
Phantom Broken Diablo?
Phantom Broken, yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, does it matter what your off 3s are? In which case, I say yes, it still does, because I still think Dark Dictator is still a better off 3.
Yeah.
That said, I do think Babkar should at least be a 1-up.
Yeah, he should definitely be a 1-up.
Because there's a lot of power in free calling, and Shadows are going to have that in spades. It's free. Let's be honest. They soul blast the card, but you have Nightmare Painter. Like, that's free as shit.
Yeah.
So like, there's going to be a lot of power in free calling. And, like, even if people refuse to accept rumored effects or whatnot, and even if, like, there's not a lot of retire soon, there's going to be retire somewhere. For sure. There's still 2 triple Rs we haven't seen. At least 1 double R, possibly 2 if they cuck Murakumo.
Well, no, it's gonna be
more after.
I think it's gonna be 2 double Rs.
And they're VR.
Like Murakumo's are getting
doesn't seem likely. They're implying then the Shadows get 4 double Rs. Anyway, at least for sure, 1 double R, 2 triple Rs, a VR, and then a lot of not a lot, but like a decent amount of cards still. There's gonna be a retire coming in somewhere. Being able to get free rear guards is gonna be huge.
Yeah. And like so far it's just Nemain, technically this card and Car. Like this isn't really free, but
no, it's not free. But like I think Car is going to be a better off 3 for the most part because he's Vanguard Rearguard. He has the gift. He calls stuff. Like he's going to kind of suck riding. You know, you can't really like deny that. But at the end of the day, he's basically doing the same crap that Dark Dictator is. The only difference is Dictator is retiring your card too and swinging for 23, whereas this is just like superior calling your card from the top of your deck for basically free.
Yeah, but this guy's only Vanguard Circle only, so if you're on Phantom Blaster, like Dark Dick is just not that great.
Useless, yeah. At the point that you're on Phantom Blaster, you're probably never going to want to reride Dark Dictator, which means that he's useless. He's just a card that you're going to PG away at some point in time. But like you run Car, you're going to call Car, you're going to get more retire fodder because obviously Phantom Blaster is going to retire in some capacity, and you're just going to keep going. Even Smashing Knight, Demand or whatever, Damon or whatever the hell his name is, like you're gonna also see like a lot more use in him than Dictator. Like he's a terrible ride, but he's an 18k swing on his own. So
yeah, you're right.
28 on force. So like these things matter.
Yeah,
Shadows are probably going to be the clan that can topple OTT, in my opinion.
Yeah, it largely depends on what Phantom Blaster does, and there's no point in speculating. For the people who are probably wondering why we keep tiptoeing around, there's a rumored effect for No Life King and Phantom Blaster. There's no point in us bringing it up because the source is pretty iffy on if they're credible or not, and to bring it up could possibly just produce the skies falling effect and people panicking and freaking out. And there's no point when it's not a confirmed thing, so it's better just not to actually talk about. But if the effect ends up being true, it'll end up being pretty relevant. Like all this stuff, the shadows will not seem that bad anymore, and it'll be hyped. So that's like just the long and short of it. There's no point in bringing it up because it's just a rumor at this point. The source is sometimes incredible, sometimes not. So we just have to see.
Yeah.
breaking.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on African American Richard over here?
African American Richard. I mean, pre Phantom Broken Diablo, as Tis called it, it definitely looks like it would be played in the deck. Depending on what Phantom Blaster does, though, it's really hard to say. Like, maybe you never really want to have him be on first ride. In that case, like, why run him?
Yeah. I mean, there may be another build like with just him and Car, because we don't know if like some other rear guards are gonna sack off stuff of your own so they can get power or they can get other skills or whatnot, which is what I'm hoping for the next triple R that we're gonna get.
Get that
Well, the triple R is probably a grade 2 though.
Yeah. So, like I hope so anyway. I hope it is. And it'll be like counterblast 1, sack like 2 or 3 units, or sack a unit, gain you can't guard or some crap like that. Nobody knows. I'm bad at building cards, which is why I don't work for the R&D. Yeah. And the
Thank
last.
God you don't work for Bushwood.
Hey, that could mean I'm perfect to work for Bushy Road because I don't know how to design cards.
Design all the Excel clans. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So the last card that we're going to talk about for today.
I mean, what we know, obviously, probably one of the triple R's is most likely Matcha in some form.
Oh yeah, it has to be. Definitely has to
probably be. Matcha. So like we know that we're probably going to get a card that'll superior call in some form, or probably a counterblast.
Yeah.
Then. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, before we like switch over from the trial deck, because that's the only trial deck card that's really worth talking about. Like, the trial deck art is like, it makes me sad because all of it's so beautiful. Like, did you guys see that perfect guard?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that thing's beautiful. But yeah, like, nobody's gonna use it. They're probably gonna use like Blaster Dark, maybe Dark Dictator, aka Black Alfred, aka African American Richard. But yeah, next. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure, like, before we go back to the trial deck, the double R's are probably Charon and Matcha. I don't think they're gonna get a triple R3. They have a lot of 3s already, actually.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they have. No, they do have a rare one, but I don't think they have a shadow one yet, too. Or sorry, a common shadow 3 yet, too. So like, I don't believe the triple R will be a 3. I think they're going to get another grade 2 or grade 1.
Yeah, but people need to realize that the AL4 booster is Shadow Paladin, the booster. So.
It really is.
Yeah, just like Champions of Asia was Aquaforce booster.
No, it wasn't, bro.
No way, sir.
We were the cover card.
What? No.
That did not mean anything.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know. Like,
one thing we are learning though is so there is a preconceived notion that if you got a trial deck because you're getting less cards in the set, your deck was going to be the cheapest in the set. Okay, after 3 times of being wrong, I think it's very safe to say this is not a true statement. And trial deck clans tend to be the most expensive in the set.
Yeah.
So, for all those people thinking about it, shadows, even if they're bad, are probably going to be money. So just get ready.
Especially just because of the force marker alone, because it's going to be like one of them's Ren, one's on Blaster Dark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because they're like shadows alone, like shadows were already in everybody's mind going to be the most expensive clan in the set, even if like the support was complete ass. And like it's only being proven more the more we see the purple Phantom Blaster Diablo special 999 copies, and like red and marker. There's an image rare in the set. Oh, I wonder who it could be.
I don't know.
Yeah, shadows are always going to be the most expensive clan in the set for sure.
It's gonna be Aichi on Blaster Dark. It's gonna be hot.
Oh man, that'd be so good. All right, all right.
It's gonna be Kyle and Blaster Dark. I know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah. What's the name? Doesn't Aichi plays?
Yeah, he played
Blaster
Shadows
Dark
for a little bit.
Point. So guess what? It's gonna be Aichi again, and people are gonna be pissed.
Oh my god, no! I'll just paint my image rare Blaster Blade black right now. So yeah, the last card that we're going to talk about for today is going to be Skull Witch Nemain, who is, she's a grade 1 5k. She is act rearguard circle cost. Rest this unit. Search your deck for up to 1 card with power 5,000. Not 5,000 or less, not 5,000 or more, just power 5,000. Call it to an open rearguard circle. Shuffle your deck. This ability can be used up to 1 time each turn, even with the cards with the same name.
Before we talked about the hard once per turn, my lord, she tick.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep the plot out of Shadow Paladins isn't working.
Yeah, that's actually, I believe, the first hard once per turn in Vanguard. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Ever.
Which is pretty big, but it's good because it implies, they're not trying to break shadows and give them free superior calling chains.
Yeah, because it'll thin your deck. Like if you let's just say they didn't have that hard once per turn. It was just once per turn per card. You could thin your deck out of 3 more cards. That's potential chance of 3 more triggers or getting whatever you want out of your deck.
Or 1 card becomes free sack fodder for your boss.
Yes. Ugh. So, which makes me think that Phantom Blaster is going to sack 3 things.
I don't necessarily know how good this is going to be in Standard, but I can tell you in Premium, this is going to be used to abuse quite a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like, this is going in Diablo.
This is going in probably every Premium Shadow Paladin deck.
Ugh.
It literally calls the average number of sacks you need for any Shadow Stride boss, which is usually 2. So she herself single-handedly fuels costs for free. You just gotta rest her.
Yeah.
So that's really good. She can superior out starters, which Shadow has quite a few that do some pretty neat things. You could use her say you're playing some version of Premium Luard. You can use her to rest her to call out Vikru, and then retire them both. Then Vikru triggers, goes into Soul, so you basically Soul charged, and then unflips, so you counter charge all for free, literally just for resting the main. Say you're using this with Phantom Blaster name for just basically a V premium deck where you're playing Shadows, but the V stuff, whatever. So you can use the main, rest her, call out full ball Diablo, retire for the effects of whatever stride you're on, doesn't matter because you have Blaster Vanguard. Then you get the effect of full bow Diablo, call out Blaster Dark on Force Circle,
We
And-
Nova Grapplers now, full blow.
Full bow. Full bow. So now you have a Blaster Dark on a 4 circle after you probably already attacked like your 3 times, and because it's called during like the sack, because most Shadow Paladins stack on attack. So you can also stack triggers on the Blaster Dark. Like it opens the door for multi-attacking, all sorts of neat stuff you can do with the various starters and whatnot. It conveniently avoids a lot of really good cards though, some really good 3 or lesses, 5 or lesses, some really good 6Ks. So that's good at least. It's balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good card.
Like this thing could call it like prohibited books or some shit. Oh,
Yeah.
just all the loop. Give me all the loop, Lord, again.
Yeah, which makes me believe like Shadow Paladins are not going to be shit because after like the initial like in the original series, I think like after we first saw Ren and like he did Phantom Blaster Dragon and
Right. So, like Shadow Paladins, like I know I had this whole tangent about Dark Irregulars, right? Being, like,
Here we go again.
Yeah. I know. It's like the way they've changed up Shadow Paladins, at least for standard. And yeah, it looks like all of it is just to set up Phantom Blaster Dragon, who probably will have a skill similar to the Stride Diablo Phantom Blaster Dragon. Not gonna speculate, but assuming that's what it is, because like Shadow Paladins are all killing. You're making your opponent kill his own units off, making your opponent choose which units do they want to get rid of. Now obviously people are like, oh well, Promise Daughter brings up, and I was like, okay, and you just swing on Promise Daughter. How much do you value your Promise Daughter being on the board, regardless?
It's definitely one deck, yeah. And like it's always been a Ren thing to kind of be like, oh, how do you want to suffer?
Yeah.
Right. How do you want to so that's what I think. I mean, I think that it's an interesting direction for Shadow Paladins where they take away your friends and Royals kind of build your friends up, so to speak, and give them massive power. But I really think Shadows will definitely end up being a strong deck. I just have this thing where a dark horse would be Dark Irregular.
Yeah.
God, again.
We come full circle.
Oh my god, bro.
Darkfight King back at it again.
There can only be one dark clan that surpasses, and that is Shadow Paladin, bro. Just face it.
Yeah. Cardfight King here.
Let me be.
Cardfight King here, soul charging life, baby. You already know.
Nah. See, Dark Irregular is probably going to trigger me. I'm probably going to soul charge all my triggers and drive check double grade 3 every time. I'm going to be like, man, that's whack.
Cardfight King's gonna be like that one different fight episode when it's like Dark Irregulars, and he's like soul charging until he has like that stack that's halfway up. That's gonna be Cardfight King must soul charge. Soul charge.
Screw you.
Oh man. But yeah, like I think shadows are gonna be fucking amazing. Like there's no doubt about that. They're gonna have image rare, sign force markers, technically 2 sign force
you said
markers.
amazing, not expensive.
Well, hey, we're getting to that part.
Necessarily go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Right.
It could. But so now that we spent over an hour talking about AL4 and a trial deck, real quick, what do you guys think about like the lasting impression EBO1 has had so far in the meta, like over in Japan? Because we just got it a couple days ago.
I mean,
it's not OGT.
Yeah, spikes are very good, very consistent. I'd say, like, not quite in the top like decks, but they're definitely like a lot higher than the middle of the pack. Like, because there's a noticeable power gap, I feel, between like real middle of the pack decks and spikes. Like, I feel it's like the upper middle, like the gatekeeper, so to speak. So I definitely feel they're very good. Tachikazes. They're a really good clan, but if you misride, that deck just crashes and burns. And that's really hard to deal with in a format where like you have to be perfect because like look at the top decks. So I mean, while it's good and while I still do think it is a top 3 clan, when you ride Gigarex, when you don't ride Gigarex, as some people have even found out, Tachis have some very, very poor matchups in EBO2. So like these things matter, unfortunately. And like while I think the clan in a vacuum definitely is top 3, well, it definitely had the results of a top 3 clan prior to Grand Blue coming out. Anyway, I feel like it was definitely a top 3 clan when Japan had it before EBO2 came out. And here you're gonna see that. There's not gonna be many events here, but like at least at your locals, like good Tachi players are definitely gonna give you the business. Yeah. Like don't get that wrong.
And in Chicago, because Chicago comes. Yeah, when Chicago happens, it's a week before Champions of Asia.
Yeah, so if you're going to Chicago, like Tachikaze is one of the top 3 decks to beat. Like, you need to be ready for that matchup. You need to prepare for it. You need to understand like how you have to beat them. And like, there's various different scenarios I could go in depth on, but like, there's no point. Like, it's just something like you guys as listeners are gonna have to learn yourself, unfortunately. But like, do not underestimate this deck. In my opinion, is definitely a top 3 clan pre EBO2.
Listen,
and
listen.
Like when it high rolls, like even potentially top 2, I think it's better than Kagura when it high rolls.
Listen, here's something I'll say, which I do want to commend Bushiroad on. Every deck, even over grapplers, even whatever deck you want to say is the bottom of the barrel, they've done a good job. They're still a good deck. Like overall, you can't just sleep on any deck in V. Like you really just can't. Like if you want to put everything, like you take the best players in Vanguard and they play each deck. Like of course OTT, Kagura, like the meta will shape itself out. But like if you go to a tournament, do not sleep on any deck. Don't you sleep on Tachis. Don't you sleep on Spikes. Don't you sleep on Mega Colony. Because there are times when they will just destroy you, and then you'll be looking like a fool because you were playing OTT and thought it was just an easy breeze.
Actually, I want to add on that too, especially. Okay, so the aggro Mega Colony build and the Asura Kaiser Nova Grappler builds. These are clans that a lot of people are looking at as the absolute bottom tier, bottom of the barrel clans, blah, blah, blah. They have builds that aren't quote unquote the norm for them going around right now. And if you run into either of these 2 builds, the aggro Mega Colony or the Asura Kaiser Novas, like these builds will slap you. They will straight up dunk you if you don't respect them. Especially the Asura build. It's literally crazy diamond. Like they're essentially running a deck with like 38 triggers or something crazy like that. They're always going to get effects on their drive checks. You need to be ready for that. You need to kill their rear guards. You need to deny them as much counterblast as you can. Like I don't know when we're gonna get them, but we're gonna have King and Queen soon. Like this will be a problem.
I think King and Queen are out now.
You have to be ready for that.
Wait, is somebody making car noises?
Right.
No, but I think King and Queen are out now. Like, I think they're in the promo pack.
When are shops supposed to get the promo packs? Because
some people have them, some don't.
Yeah, my shop has them. Like, I'm going after we get done with this. So yeah, shout out to Immortals Inc. out in Rocky River, Ohio. If you guys wanna stop on by,
get all your promos.
Yeah, get all your promos.
Asura Kaiser is a real build and it is a real threat, and it is the OTT killer, like the best one we have besides probably Kagura. So like Kagura players especially, like you got to be wary of that. You got to be careful. Or sorry, not Kagura, OTT players. And like on top of that, the aggressive Mega Colony build, like you don't want to be caught like in a scenario where you're not expecting it and they double antline you.
Antline is not fun to go up against. But see, like I don't know about you guys, but like I have one surefire way I can beat any deck regionals, locals, just playing for fun, looking at somebody across the street playing a game, I can beat them. You know how? Stack their deck. That's it. You stack your opponent's deck, make it all threes, they're done.
Right?
That's good shit.
Yeah, and like, as long as you don't get caught, you're good. That and play with your deck in all top loaders. It'll piss your opponent off and make them leave.
No, I mean, just something I'd like to say is, we have the ARG National, or, whatever, Worlds coming up here in a week, next week, and you have your regionals coming up. Don't sleep on any deck. Just don't.
Yeah, but isn't the ARG thing premium?
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like, people will go in with blasters and they'll be like, "Oh, DI from set 14, they can't beat me because I got new triggers." Don't sleep. Don't sleep on those decks. You sleep on those decks, you're gonna lose.
Honestly, if we have a second to talk about premium, like, there is some key decks I feel from G era that still need to be respected. Definitely still dominate. Definitely still ZTB. Anj, for sure. Anj, in my opinion, is the best G deck period at this moment in time. And like, there's wild cards too. Like, even though at the ARG they're not gonna support yet, like, don't be surprised. Blue waves can kill you. It will happen. So like, you can't be surprised about that. Of course, everybody knows about Itchy Tom. Everybody knows about blasters. Premium megas, pretty strong. Rexes, very strong. Like, you can't sleep on anything in premium. Don't disrespect anything. Every deck still has the capacity to win games despite having new triggers.
Yeah, like, definitely do your research on decks. Like, I know I was joking earlier about stacking decks, but like, definitely do your research. Like, at least learn like what their most important power plays are and how you can shut them down. Like, if they need rear guards, call them from hand, or if they need rear guards already on board, or what you can do to just stop it, like, period, or like at least mitigate what they're gonna do to you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, because that's in my opinion, that's the one thing that I do anytime I get ready to go to a big tournament. Like, I'm probably gonna be going to Toronto this year. Probably depends on how long it takes. It depends on my passport. That's really it.
Dude, you could have that shit in 4 days.
Dude, I'm not paying like $700 for that.
You'll still have it in like 2 weeks if you get it normally.
Yeah.
And it's only 200, I think, if you express it or something like that. 150.
Yeah. So like, I'm still gonna, like, and like, Canadian players are supposedly like regarded as like some of the best players in the game. So like, I'm definitely gonna be doing.
According to Zay.
Yeah.
No, not even.
No. Like, I mean, like, realistically, like, before I even met Zay, like, there were like a lot of Canadian players that I see with top events. Like, when I used to go to Chicago, like, with just me and my friends, it'll be like, oh, like, this guy's Canadian, this guy's Canadian. That's what they all have in common. So it's like, it's definitely not something to like just sit and like wait around and be like, oh, whatever. Like, do your research. Like, find out like what decks are the top decks. Obviously, like OTT, Tachis, Kagero, sometimes Royals, because they can catch you slipping. And just like do your research and find out what you need to do. Definitely.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some people that meme are like, oh, Canadian players, blah, blah, blah. But like, we do have a lot of really good players, and like, I can even speak just like from my circle, for instance. Like, one of the guys who does like most of the driving for traveling, he tops almost every single event he goes to in the States. In Canada, it doesn't matter. A lot of us also top in various places, but like, especially in the States, a lot of us have gotten a lot of tops in the States. Like, so it's nothing to sleep on. It's just like my immediate friend circle. I'm not even talking about people like your Stephen Lees, your Axel, and stuff like that. So like, there's good talent in Toronto for sure, and like, it's always the same consistent like top 15 and 16 players at the end of the day. So like, it is always good to come up and like, you know, test your mettle against them, because like, we can't always travel to these U.S. events, but like, if you could travel to Canada, it's worth it.
Yeah, and on top of that, Canada's a beautiful country.
I mean, if anything, we have beautiful women. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah. That's all I was talking about. What else is there?
Yeah.
Anyway, so this week, oh, before we even get to anything else, I want to go ahead and announce the winners of the 200 subscribers giveaway from from Wednesday. Rolling in, and sorry if I butcher any of your names. Rolling in at third place, it's Paxel Lazona. So congratulations. Like you guys message me. I don't care how you message me, just message me, and I'll get your information so I can send you out the stuff. Second place is Lucas Livingood, and first place is Lesem Dimirovsky.
Oh, Lesm. He's on my channel all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember him too.
You alive over there, CFK? God damn.
No, he went into his dark irregular cocoon. He's putting on his mascara.
I know. I was doing something. Yeah, no, my boy Les won. Hey.
Yeah.
I think I know Living Good too. Okay.
So just to clarify, you'll have to be addresses in the U.S. and we'll get you your stuff as soon as possible.
Yeah. Also, if you do not reply within a week, I'm just not gonna send anything because I feel like a week is a susceptible amount of time.
Just go to like the next person or some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say have them respond. We'll reach out to you as well just to be sure, and we'll go from there. If you do not respond to us, then you lost.
Yeah. So, anyway,
I mean, a week's pretty generous. Most Twitch giveaways are like respond in the next like hour or day.
Well, I mean, we're not Twitch.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't give away future plans.
Give this man his bits. Let's go.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna end it right here this week. Hopefully, we'll see you guys next week, and maybe there'll be more of you. This has been Black Guy Senpai's Cardfight King, the new overlord for Dark Irregulars.
Oh my
TisSkill and Zay.
AKA Snore Master, AKA fucking hammering them keys.
Yo, I feel bad.
Oh man.
All right. And this is Zay, clowning on CFK all day.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Have fun.
See you.
Later.